The 2 Cent Report!
Hello and welcome to the 2 Cent Report, aka the Acquisition Cost, aka the Poverty Cost, where our budget is low and our standards are even lower. Today you join us on our first episode of the new year, 2022. A lot has happened in this month, but first, introduction. I am your co-host, Tristan, and I'm joined today by your host, Justin. Justin, say hello.
Hello. Usually I do the intro, but I thought I'd allow the other classes to, play around a bit. Oh, it's so cute. And it's also irritating because he probably does it better than me. So now I'm out of a job.
Yep, that's affirmative action for you.
Well, at least I still have my job, so it's fine. You can't kick me out yet until you find a better white replacement. And as we know, there are very few white people left after the hunt began. So, I'm all you got. You should be thankful.
I mean, not really.
Be quiet. Be quiet.
I could easily just, source someone else. I could get an unpaid intern to do your job.
This is what it's like being a writer. Unpaid, intern, these words get thrown around all the time. I'm disgustipated by you. But anyway.
Disgustipated?
But anyway, how are you?
I'm alright. Can't complain.
I can only complain. So, it's hot. I had to turn off my fan because it messes with the recording. There's a cat over there with leaving hair all over my desk. And there's dogs over there. They're cute. So they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my only complaints.
That's
what
the white man does. Just bitch. No, never satisfied.
No, you see, we bitch, and then we decide to start a podcast about it.
Fair enough, and you got me to join.
Exactly. We needed diversity. I would have found a woman, but, I know a number of female gamers, but I think that you'd be offended if I was like, I'm going to rather go and talk to Nicole. Be like, oh, I'd rather talk to your wife. It's better.
That's fine with me because, then I don't have to listen to your fucking voice all the time.
Very true. Very true. And then we can just talk about, she and I'll just talk about like queer visual novels. So it'll be very fun.
You even play visual novels?
I love Christine Love. She's one of my favorite game developers, and her most recent game was an RPG, but all of her other ones were visual novels. Digital Love Story. I forget the name of the second game because it's a fucking long title. Hate.
Yeah. So something. Moving on, what is on today's agenda?
I want to know the name of that one because it has such a long name that I have to read it to you because I can never remember. But yeah, Digital Love Story, Analog a Hate Story, Hate Plus, Lady Killer in a Bind. Okay, this is the long one. Don't Take It Personally, Babe, It Just Ain't Your Story, which is a really long name. And I always forget it. And her latest game, which I still haven't played because I'm a bad person, is Get in the Car, Loser. So, I need to play that one. And that one's about a lesbian road trip where you save the world. So you see, I like queer visual novels. I just don't play many of them.
I just don't like visual novels. Too much clicking.
Well, then you shouldn't like RTS games either, Tristan.
When last have I played an RTS game, Justin?
Okay, so you're not absolutely obsessed with StarCraft.
The lore, yes. The art, yes. Played the games a few times, but I won't say I'm obsessed with it.
Okay. Warcraft 3 back in the day?
I played it. It was fun, but, I do get bored of it if I'm not, multiplaying with friends.
I got
Reforged, no one wants to play with me.
I think our friendship started because of Warcraft 3.
No, our friendship started because of chess.
No, I mean, I remember us first getting to talking properly about Warcraft 3 custom maps. Chess came after.
Yes.
Chess was my trick.
Yes, true. That is true. That is very true.
So I win.
The only thing I remember is standing in the small courtyard. You had a stupid haircut, and we used to talk.
I literally only ever had a stupid haircut, and then I was allowed to grow my hair, and now I look acceptable. Still not great.
Because your hair only looks good long. It's too spiky if it's short. It's weird.
I have very, very straight hair, so it porcupines until it's long enough, and then it falls straight. And actually, I have had Nina before. She's tried to curl my hair with a curling iron. It goes flat again in half an hour. It doesn't stay curled. So I have extremely straight hair.
That is a good thing, I will say. It's I would say that straight hair in the heat is a lot easier to manage than like curly or frizzy or bushy hair in the heat. That shit just
That is true. My hair doesn't like tangle. I can walk in the wind and I can just put it down and it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
But this is tangential to video games. I mean, hair exists in games.
Character customization.
There we go. You see, we looped it back. This has been about video games the whole time. I mean, well, you played Cyberpunk 2077. I still haven't played it, but I know you can choose your genitalia, I believe. Can you customize your pubic hair?
You can do that in Scum as well. But hey, let me think now. I didn't really focus on character customization on the body so much as I did on the face, because the body is like most of the time hidden behind clothing. So I didn't bother. And it's a first-person game where very rarely do you actually get to see your full body.
Yes.
So I mean, you get to see it in the where you equip your gear, but not in there. I don't remember. I think you are able to. I think.
Well,
or it just matches the hair on your head.
Well,
no, I think you're able to.
I think we should have fully customizable pubic hair in every game. Nintendo, it's time for you to get on this. We want to know about Mario's bush. So,
his mustache.
I want to see his other mustache. So, should we get started?
Well, if you want to see his other mustache, you gotta get yourself captured.
Yeah.
Obviously. But yes, let's get started.
So, this time, once again, I believe I haven't sent you the news, so you have no idea what's coming.
Well, I do have my feelers out, so I know about some things that's happened this month.
Yeah, the biggest thing we're gonna get to, like,
Lost.
Yeah, there's a certain Microsoft story, an Activision story, a Raven Software story. And then we're going to end off, if you're fine with it, the NFT chat.
Sure.
Because there was actually NFT news as well. So that will be at the end as well. Because then we have some space. So the first one. Obviously, you've heard about this current thing that Facebook is trying to pretend like they, have created VR for the first time ever, and they have a really, really shitty looking VR thing, their whole meta VR thing.
Yeah, like VR chat did.
Yeah.
When VR came out.
Yeah, exactly. And VR chat, I think, has more customization. So, I mean, they're behind. But whatever, it's Facebook.
I'm starting to think that VR chat is not gunning so they can get you in a virtual world while they steal everything you own via your details. I've got this feeling that what they want is for they're gonna advertise. People are gonna get into it, and they're gonna have some account that forces you to like access your Facebook in VR only. Yeah. And when they do that, when you log in order to access, they're just gonna spam you with VR adverts.
No, definitely.
Pop-ups. Like I don't know if you ever saw it. It was like a demo for AR, and they were just showing out what it could be if advertisement took over AR, and there's like all of these holograms, I guess you could say, but it's in AR, so you're always obviously looking through a lens.
Yes.
But in that, they have all these adverts and stuff, and I kind of feel like you're gonna get there, and there's gonna be adverts and paywalls. Oh, you can't enter this lounge, you can't go to that room.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, like Facebook is used by parents.
Yes, and grandparents.
Our parents and grandparents. And how do they think that these people are gonna get VR to be in the metaverse?
I know, it's fucking hilarious. I think it's adorable that they're like, yes, we're going to get our 40 age and plus demographic to buy VR headsets, a fucking complicated technology that they get scared of a new smartphone. So imagine setting up VR. No, it's not gonna, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Meta.
But it's not just that. With the VR, the whole VR experience, if they're aiming to younger audiences, they also need to, because it's Facebook, they also need to be very protective. I mean, there was that report that someone was claiming they were groped in the metaverse, and I was just like, okay, well, that's gonna happen when you have people that, I mean, people are already dicks on the internet because they know that you can't punch them in the face.
Yeah.
Now, when you have a VR world that people are existing in, it's not very healthy. I think that kind of world promotes the worst out of the technology.
Probably. But, you know, that's their next plan. But what is quite funny is because they're doing, they're the whole idea of Meta, because they've renamed themselves Meta rather than Facebook. It's currently being examined by the FTC because they're wanting to check if there's anything potentially not so great about this technology. So that's usually not great when the FTC starts, which is the Federal Trade Commission or Committee, who knows. The C could be anything. But Federal Trade, they basically are the ones that investigate businesses being bad boys. And not in a sexy way, like bad. They're bad people. So they're being investigated. So we're going to see what happens there, which, yeah, that's really all there that is there. But I just found it something kind of funny. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there actually, other than those big news stories, there isn't actually that much today. We're going to have one more actual story, 3 acquisitions, funsies, and then onto the major stories. So the next one is about TT Games, which is a name we might not know very well, but you probably know the games they make, because they make the Star Wars, not the Star Wars, the Lego games, including the Lego Star Wars games. And it turns out a lot of crunch there. So it's yet another company that uses crunch, but this time it's sort of like, oh, cool, the company that makes kids games, they're doing it too. Cool.
Crunch is the funny thing is, like, it's 2022 and we're still talking about, we still get shocked when we find out that studios have a crunch environment inside their production areas. And it's, the funny thing is that it's been going on, just justified for other reasons, you know. Oh no, it's not so bad. This is the industry. Everybody does it. And there's a reason why when people say, oh yeah, everybody does crunch as an excuse to why they're doing crunch, is because everybody, well, not everybody now, but before, any studio who was trying to keep up with releases and demands were in crunch. And the fact is, it's coming out because there's been, the game industry has grown so much over the past few years that it has actually been quite substantial when it comes to how much crunch needs to be put in. And that crunch that is being put in now is a lot higher, but that doesn't mean that they're only crunching now. They've been crunching for years.
Yeah, I know, definitely.
I actually read this report. Some paper was trying to say that the drop in the entertainment industry. This is like movies, films, and games. The drop in that was so significant. Let me just. It was really really funny because they made it seem like because of COVID, the drop in everything. Like I'm talking about the um, purchasing sales companies um, backing this the entertainment industry was great, but they managed to recover the next year. And I looked at the stats from that this person provided, and it was so funny because 2019 was like I think it was like if I just give a general number because I don't actually have the paper on hand at the moment. I mean, like shocker, I don't have all my documentation in a row. I'm terrible, but
You are.
I am very terrible. Let me. It was actually quite funny. Like I was trying to get the link. I actually do have the documentation. Funny enough. Yeah. So the global gaming industry. I know I'm wasting everybody's time here, but I have to do this because I thought it was fun. So I'm on the website statista.com, and I'm looking at the value of the global entertainment and media market from 2011 to 2025. Right, this is the funniest thing. People saying, "Oh yeah, the economy and the entertainment industry took a real big hit, but then it recovered in 2021, and it's gone up in 2022, and it's predicted to go up." But here's the funny thing. Um, I'm just going to give you numbers. I'm not going to give you the ratios of what it before, but in 2019, it was rated for the market value to be um, 2.1 trillion US dollars. Okay, 2.1 trillion. And then they said that the industry took a hit, just like all the other industries. But in 2020, it was reported that the industry was worth 2 trillion US dollars, which means they only lost the point one, right? And there's only a slight dip, and then in 2021, it's 2.2 trillion US dollars. But what's funny about this is that they said, oh no, it fell down so much. It got hit so badly, but like 2 trillion US dollars is a lot of money. And in 2018, it was valued at 2 trillion US dollars. And anything before 2018 was even lower. So how can you say that 2020 was impacted so much when they only lost point 0.1 and it wasn't even a worse number than before 2018. So it's like it wasn't hit so bad, but just those figures don't mean anything. But with the industry growing, the demand for products are growing, and crunch is getting more and more. And companies that got away with it, and because of this whole uncovering and people actually what do they call them? The whistleblowers are actually doing their job now, or not their job, but they're doing their service. We're able to see which companies are part of it, and now it's just getting worse because now everything's kind of shifted focus. The people are looking for because of recent events, are looking for more targeted harassment than abuse. And yeah, companies think they can get away with crunch still.
This is why there's a thing that Jim Sterling actually says quite often. Is say we should just investigate all game companies. Then you know if all of them get investigated, they will all stop because they're scared. So
Yeah, but you can't finance something like that.
that's the problem.
Public. You'd have to
However,
have some kind of like rich millionaire or trillionaire to fund these kind of investigations.
although what you can do is you can be like, because usually these investigations were spearheaded by media organizations. So if you were just like, okay, cool, Kotaku, you can now investigate EA. Actually, that's pointless. Don't investigate EA. We know their shit. You investigate, these ones. Polygon, you investigate these guys. IGN, I know you're very busy sucking the cock of the game industry, but you can investigate these people. Give them like a smaller company so they don't feel so scared because they're very terrified. Although they actually recently did uncover something, but this was long ago, so I didn't include it because it was a long time ago. But
I don't trust IGN reviews.
oh
I
no,
don't.
no,
Those guys are full of shit.
no, they're very What's also really funny, I remember this being like a big thing. They reviewed, I think it was like Undertale. They reviewed it like 4 months after it came out, and you're like, how does like a gigantic media empire like IGN not very quickly discover that there's this, game that's causing a big ruckus? We should review it early so that we can get those numbers. No, they'll be like, no, we're gonna wait for like ages. They do this with indie games. They like wait ages. So you'll see reviews of things where you're like, okay, you're reviewing this now. All right.
Because indie games don't pay.
But oh well, whatever.
They don't pay to get good reviews, so they're only going to review them when some poor reporter or journalist is able to get an interview or just play the game themselves and
their
own opinion. And then that poor person's name is removed, and then they slap someone else's name on it.
Yeah. iTunes, great. Anyway, we have 3 acquisitions. Well, 4 acquisitions, but the one is one group buying 2 things, so 3 acquisitions. 2 of them are very, very small, and I've never heard of them. So, we'll start with those. A group called Kwalee, they bought a game company called Tictales. So I'm like, cool. The main thing that I liked about this was I find the names really cute. I don't know any of the games they make. It's like hyper casual games, it looks like. But I love the names. Kwalee and Tictales. I'm like, that's cute. That sounds like a children's game.
You even know what they do, Tictales.
I'm in love with what?
You even know what they do.
No, I don't. No, Tictales, they're adorable.
Tictales Studio. They've got some games or app drawing inspiration from visual novels and game books. So they're already not on my list, but they're probably on yours. 12 Signs of Love. Love and Diaries, Ash. Summer Trip. Love and Diaries, Patrick.
But
Memory Hunter.
But they're hyper casual. They're not like weird.
Rising Lovers. Under Love Story. Naomi. Love and Diaries, Aaron.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you think I'd like it. The other
more than I would like it,
probably. The other one though is Stillfront, who we did do last year, but I don't remember really who they are. But they are like a freemium company, so they're probably if you're a freemium game company, that probably means you're a mobile game company. And they bought something called 6 Waves, which I don't like the names as much of these, but it's
literally 6 waves.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's $201 million, which I mean is not insignificant. So that's why I thought, okay, cool. Because sometimes you get those ones where it's like, it was an acquisition for $5 million. And you're like, okay. All right, whatever. However, the third one is big. Because the Savvy Gaming Group, which...
Oh, just Stillfront, featured games, lifelong fun. You offer a diversified portfolio of games. They are the people behind Albion Online. If you've ever got caught in those.
No, but that sounds familiar.
I'm actually on their website right now. Explore our games. Their first one is Albion Online. They've also done, this is Stillfront games, just by the way. Albion Online, they've done Battle Pirates, Big Farm, Mobile Harvest, BitLife, Call of War, because you see they're smart.
Yeah, the other name is taken, so
Conflict of Nations, Good Game Empire.
You know what? I like that name, so it's chilled.
But I think their most known game is Albion Online.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my! I hope this is sponsored by 40K. If you get a chance, look up the Horus Heresy Legion. I hope that's approved by the 40K people, because these are straight up Space Marines. I hope. The free, yeah, okay. It is by the 40k people.
All right.
Unravel 2, apparently, they had a hand in. But yeah, that's the list of. I'm not going to go through all the featured games, but
Yeah, no, it's you often get these groups that like you haven't really heard of, but they have,
maybe
really.
outsourcing company.
I mean, one of the most interesting ones is uh, there's a game. It's one of the most played games on Earth, and like no one has really heard of it here in the Western
Is it a
world.
Western? Yeah, okay. I was gonna say
Yeah,
it's a Western issue.
I think it's this one.
It's only because Asia has the most population in the world.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's this one. It's Crossfire. Is it? No, it's not this one. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, it's a first-person shooter. It was released in South Korea, and it has the second highest player count in the world.
What's the highest?
PUBG.
Really?
Yeah.
I honestly thought it would be Fortnite.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at this and I'm quite like shocked because PUBG has got 1 billion players and Fortnite has 350, but it says registered accounts, which is maybe.
Last I heard, PUBG was on their way out. They can't innovate enough to draw players back.
Well, either way. Yeah, but you'll get like these games you've never heard of, and they have huge amounts of players, but because it's played in China, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Or registered accounts, there's literally bot people bought it so that they can make accounts, boosting the game's rep because we've got so many players. But if it's just noticing how many registered accounts they have, it could just be bots, just generating accounts.
I mean, it's still a lot.
It is still a lot, no doubt.
Like I said, that GTA 5 has 100 and it was either 130 or 140. I've already closed the tab, but yeah, like 130 million, which is still a hell of a lot. But PUBG has 350 million, so it's quite a bit more. But anyway, the next acquisition is by a group you've never heard of, but they've acquired something you probably have heard of. It's called the Savvy Gaming Group, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, I see now. The Savvy Gaming Group is a fund. It's part of the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, who are buying up things in the tech industry because they're trying to, like, as we as a society are moving further and further away from oil, understandably, people in the Middle East are like, well, that's our primary export and where we get most of our money. So they're trying to transition. So Saudi Arabia is trying to transition into being a tech-focused company like Japan. And this is probably why
company
they're
or
doing
country?
This. Country. Sorry.
You said like Japan. You can't say company in the name. Japan isn't a company.
Yeah, I meant to say country. So yeah, they're trying to be a tech-focused country like Japan.
I think what makes a lot of the countries where most of our like state-of-the-art technology comes from has a lot of organization and a lot of respect that runs in that. So people can get things done faster to do it, right? I don't think that they're gonna take off into that direction just by buying companies that do that. I mean, it's more of a company environment and the way people think than buying up a whole lot of stuff. But yeah, I don't have the money to become an acquisitioner, so
yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah, so they like buying up these things, but they've bought up two companies. There are two groups, I suppose they technically call them: the ESL, which I very much know, and then FACEIT, who I don't know. But do you know the ESL?
No.
The ESL is the organization that runs pretty much most of esports. So they run the tournaments for things like Dota, Counter-Strike, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, lots of games. The ESL is like, it's kind of like, gaming's version of like the NFL or FIFA or whatever. And they were bought up by Savvy Gaming Group, $1.5 billion. So not cheap, not Bethesda money.
Yeah,
but
something like that. It just I'll leave it. I just think that it's a bit weird. A game tournament run by people that don't understand games and just want in on the money.
Yeah, well,
I'm just mumbling to myself now. Don't worry about me.
Well, that's just the big thing, which a lot of people do have a problem with, because Saudi Arabia is kind of a
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. When I said they don't understand.
No, but
so wild about it.
But the main problem people have is really that Saudi Arabia is kind of has a dictator basically, and a lot of human rights violations. So it's a fun place.
Why it's weird.
It is.
But anyway,
they're trying to move into tech, but we'll see what happens there. Anyway, that's pretty much the end of the acquisition-y things, except for the big acquisition, the main one. Microsoft is acquiring. Also, it turns out we've been saying the name wrong the whole time. It's actually Activision Blizzard King. So we were talking about coming up with an acronym for it. We can call it ABK, which is actually what people have been calling it. I don't remember when they acquired King, but do you know King?
No.
King made Candy Crush. So
is this like is this like just Blizzard like developing just cancerous tumors everywhere?
I don't know. It's a strange thing. But by the way, obviously this Activision Blizzard King thing was worth a lot of money, so Microsoft were like, cool, we'll buy you for $68.7 billion. So
yeah,
cool. Which a lot of people have been like, this is kind of seeming like the Disney of the games industry at the moment. They bought Bethesda a while back. Before that, they were doing their thing where they were buying lots of indies. Like they bought Double Fine, and they bought Obsidian. They bought lots of little studios, like indie studios.
True.
And now,
but Microsoft's reputation isn't like Disney. The thing is, back when Microsoft was still making Microsoft original games, the games were good. And now it's unlike. I understand it more like it just means that it solidifies the game on the platform, and hopefully they are able, with the resources they have, to force changes within these major companies to clean them out.
That's the hope. Well, that's
the hope, obviously.
So what has happened so far? That the deal hasn't technically gone through yet, but we're expecting that it will go through. Basically, when this news was announced, the Xbox Game Pass subscriptions passed 25 million subscribers, which that's also probably what they want, because now all of like the Call of Duty games and stuff are going to be on Game Pass, which is making that subscription service look even more attractive. And the other thing that there seems to be, it's weird. Okay, this is what's really weird. There seems to be the implication that Bobby Kotick is going to go away, but
I'm telling you, it's going to be a casino vibe. Where Bobby Kotick is going to be, he's going to go from CEO to CTO. He's going to be head of catering and still control the company.
The thing is, literally, when this was trending on Twitter, because I saw it and I was just like, oh my fuck, this is huge, and it was literally everything on Twitter I saw. But another hashtag trended with Microsoft, which was hashtag fire Bobby Kotick. So the people, I think, would prefer if Bobby Kotick gets fired, but we'll see. But he did he addressed, his employees, and apparently he arrived late and left early for the meeting. So cool. But basically he came to be like, I will be here through the transition. which kind of leaves room to think maybe once transition is done, he won't be there anymore. But it would also make sense if Microsoft was like, we would rather distance ourselves from Bobby. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm 100% of that. Maybe it is time to move away from him.
Yeah.
I understand. I agree with the people. He needs to go. I also think that he's more than happy to step down now that he's got a fat paycheck and some money coming in after the acquisition. So I think he's gonna go ruin someone else's life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm looking here at things. His estimated net worth. So I'm pretty sure that he's gonna be fine. But it looks like his estimated net worth, it said somewhere here. Can't you just give me a number? God. Estimated net worth in 2021, $8 billion. So.
He's good. His net worth is the same amount as what Microsoft bought Bethesda for.
Yeah. Also.
No, it wasn't 8 billion. It was 8 trillion, wasn't it?
No, it was billion. Yeah.
Oh wow! His net worth is.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And that's actually, funny. Also, it said there in the news thing as when I was like, oh fuck, that's usually not a good thing. It said that he's the second highest paying CEO in the United States. So, yeah, maybe he won't be there anymore. We can only hope, and hopefully that's going to mean, some things get changed around there. Obviously, it's not going to be owned by Microsoft. And Microsoft, to my knowledge, doesn't really seem to be like a company that you hear crunch stories and sexual harassment stories. It seems to be a bit of a better company.
That's my hope. And you don't hear that they're so hands-on. Like, they're not like EA or Ubisoft where they will go down and sit on the artists and the devs' shoulders and walk them through and say, no, this must be in. This is how things go. So Microsoft also I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but also hasn't been on the scene when it comes to like pushing loot boxes or aggressive practices.
No, I don't think so. Also,
not that I've heard of.
Yeah, I don't think that they're really into that. But the thing is, what some people have said that this could be a possibility as well. They're going to be building up their Game Pass and then make an actual push into the PC gaming space and stop dealing with Steam and become an actual Steam competitor, unlike a certain other company who's half-arsing it.
I'm down. I'm 100% down for that because Steam prices will get a little bit more better, more generous, because nobody took Epic seriously, except for the people that get free games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously.
But
come now.
And obviously the studios, the developers behind the games get a better deal with Epic, but someone still needs to put the fire underneath Steam. Steam is getting really comfortable with accepting these 1,000 okay for us rand, so 1,000 rand early access games.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hell no, I'm not paying that much for a game that's not even out yet. Let me just do the old ZAR to USD convert. So we're looking at 63 US dollars. But still, like, that's a lot of money for a game that hasn't been out yet. I mean, I saw recently on Steam that they've been pre-purchasing for Dying Light 2, and I'm like, how dare you, Dying Light? How fucking dare you? You took so long. There's been so much news about passing on from one studio to the next studio, the next studio. There's been so many issues about them wanting to stop it, and then it carries on. It's in development. Then we got that dark period where you didn't hear anything from it, and then after making us wait, pushing the fucking thing back, they come out and go, "Hey, pre-order is available." Fuck you. The next time they come out, they should have given us the game, and that doesn't mean but at the time they announced the pre-order is available, they should have announced that the game was it. I don't mean that. Give them time to finish making the game, but don't come here with your 800, 900 rand fucking pre-order and then expect us to buy when we know that there's problems. Obviously, number one rule, don't buy pre-orders ever. But even that, you know, it's just this game is known for being riddled with with issues. How is it not going to come out buggy, and then you still want to sell it for that much money? Yeah,
Well,
Techland.
this is also why I don't buy new games. I'm like, nah, I'll just wait. It's fine. I'll wait till it's 80% off on Steam. Thank you. Cool. I'll buy it for like 50
No,
bucks.
I mean it's true. I mean, like, I like that Techland is still, because obviously Techland made Dying Light, and now they're continuing on Dying Light 2. But it was just me. Techland also made Dead Island, right?
Yes.
So it's. I'm just hoping that the game is fine and it's not going to be one of those where they charge such an outrageous price for a pre-order. I mean, the pre-order goes up to the the the, the ultimate edition goes up to $91 for South Africans. That's 1,500 rand for the ultimate edition, which is just fucking ridiculous
It
for
is.
pre-purchases.
Yeah,
People are getting way too greedy. Like, have you noticed that in the past 3 years we've just had, or at least on the South African side, because I know Steam caters to each country or certain region, but I know for us there's been a lot of new age games that's coming out buggy, but are releasing at 1,000 to 900 to 1,000 rand, and you just think to yourself, what the fuck? Games never used to cost as much, and if you try to tell me it's to justify um the how long it took or the graphics and stuff, bullshit. The graphics, the artists are paid. The artists, and okay, devs are paid more than artists, but the artists are paid little to nothing to push out and do your fucking crunch to get this game out, and then you want to sell it to the people for more than, oh,
Yeah, well, that's how it
this
works.
is this is why people pirate. This is this is why people, because they just don't make it affordable
Nah.
until you get like the next big sale, and even then they, like, I've seen games be do like a 10% discount or 5% discount.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, this is also why I love like indie games, because indie games it'll be like a handful of people, even one person, pouring their like heart and soul into something, and they're like, "We'll sell it for 100 rand," or it usually be like
well,
$9 or whatever.
well, one of the games I'm making is technically going to be free, and it's basically just me on the game. So yeah, I'll make it free and then charge for DLCs and stuff. You can
Hmm.
still play the game, but pay me back in extra content. Or one game I am gonna release as as a multiplayer and a full single player campaign, and I'm only gonna. There's not gonna be any. Um, if I do have DLCs, they're gonna be free. But I'm launching the game with one set price. You buy it, you own it, you get the DLCs for free, kind of deal. But it's not the indies that are wrong here. It's the corporations. They are
Yeah.
the ones
No,
who are trying to
obviously.
push for these insanely priced games. So yeah, I've always I used to believe pirate a game, then buy it if you like it, and then I stopped and I just started buying games that I like. And now looking at these prices and these unfinished games, I'm just like, maybe I should go back. Maybe I should go back.
Yeah. That's what I like to do. The thing where I'm like, no, I love The Witcher 3. Played it 5 years after it came out, but all the DLC was out, all the bugs were fixed. It's good.
Exactly, exactly.
And it
I
cost
like.
me it cost me like 150 rand for like the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, I know, right? Same. And you
So,
got The Witcher, and you got The Witcher 2 enhanced. So, yeah.
hmm. No, they're. Oh. But anyway, hopefully, this is also a thing I do like about this Game Pass thing. I've been thinking in one day if I can get like good internet, like uncapped internet. Maybe I'd get something like Game Pass because then I could download new games as they come up. But at the moment, I'm also constrained by that. And I see new games and they'll be like 90 gig download, and I'm like, cool. I have 50 gigs capped, so I'm not gonna download.
I tried the
that.
Game Pass. The problem is I don't play a lot of games. So when the Game Pass is like, I cannot play and finish all these games in time for the next game that I need to play, and I just don't have that kind of time anymore.
Yeah.
So I basically another reason why I wait until there's a big sale is because I'll wait, and then when I see a game is on sale, I have a whole like 3 or 4 years worth of reviews I can go back on to see if I really want to play this game. Like I said, I stopped pirating and I went to just buying the game.
Yeah.
Because I mean I had this, but with these new games, I might go back to my old philosophy about downloading it, playing it first, and if I like it, buy the game. I mean, what happened to demos? What happened to demos? Demos were amazing. You could find out if you like the game. I know Steam has this thing where you can buy it, and then if you pay a few, I think it's like 10 minutes of it or something, and you can get a refund for free.
That's 2 hours, so you do have some time. Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, like, I don't know if I like the game because the intro might be great, and then it could be absolutely ass the rest of the game through.
I mean, I suppose that's actually also one of the big upsides of things like the subscription service, because you can just be like, well, I pay the subscription service. It's, however much a month. I'll just play whatever game. If I don't like it, cool. I delete it and I download another one. There will be games you'll like. They will be.
No, definitely. Like I said, I actually had the pass. I had it, and then I got accepted into the poverty class, so I couldn't maintain such financial strains.
Yeah, obviously.
I had to downgrade. Yeah,
we enforce rigid poverty on this show.
Mm-hmm. You must be able to say that you're broke at any time of the month.
Yeah, obviously. But anyway, one of the big things that came out of this as well was obviously people were like, okay, hopefully, they were like, okay, well, they own like Activision, so hopefully they can like bring some of those old games back, maybe like put them up online again. Maybe they'll like put, Call of Duty on the Game Pass and everything.
But aren't the archives purged?
What?
Wouldn't a company like Activision just, I don't know, delete all their old games out of their archive just for the sake of we don't need them anymore?
I hope not, but I mean, fuck, it's possible. I mean, I know you do get things like when people try and remaster some games and they can't find the old files, so they have to like re-record things. So that could be, but hopefully not. Most companies at least do some archival, even if it's just for like,
most companies
to be assholes, like Nintendo.
Like what you want them to. I mean, a lot of their games are technically available on Steam. A lot of the old games.
Oh yeah. But I think that they're wondering: are you going to put like Activision Blizzard's full catalog, like their whole everything, onto Game Pass? So imagine you could get like Warcraft 1 on Game Pass.
You can't
because of the DOS thing.
Yeah.
No, but if they were to make it
any
compatible.
versions of Warcraft 1 and 2 come with DOSBox, which is technically an emulator.
Yeah.
For it. If
although
because it is Microsoft, if they do add that and then put DOSBox onto it, that's fine. Then you can definitely get it. Then you're looking at much older games. But yeah.
And yeah, I was just checking here to make sure, and I was sure about this, but yeah, DOS is owned by Microsoft. So
I mean, obviously it's owned by Microsoft because Windows use DOS as its programming language.
Yeah.
That's why. That's what I'm saying. Like, if DOSBox is technically an emulator, I don't know if Microsoft has sanctioned it or if it's actually an illegal emulator. I've used DOSBox quite a few times, but the thing is, I used DOSBox back when I still have DOS games, physical CDs. But I needed DOSBox to install the DOS game so I could play the DOS game.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it now. I don't know. I think it's just open source, so I don't think it belongs to anyone, really. But I mean, I'm sure that like Microsoft could probably create their own.
Why create their own when they clearly can afford to buy? So why not just buy DOSBox?
Yeah.
Then they just spend money and they don't have to do the work.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the main thing. But then there's something else about this, which is a really good point, which PC gamers wouldn't take into account, but it is something interesting. If Microsoft now owns Call of Duty, are they going to put it on PlayStation? So this has become like a thing where Sony actually came out and said that they expect Microsoft to make sure that the games are multi-platform. And they definitely will till the end of contracts. Because usually these people have like 5-year contracts and things like that, where it's like contractually obligated for several years to put it onto things and they renew the license. But in several years, they might not want to renew the license, and so things like Call of Duty could become an Xbox PC exclusive.
I'm not sorry for that. That's what you get for having exclusives. I will never be able to play certain Sony games until I get a PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's just what you have to deal with. That's like if they want to play the exclusive game, we're going to play the exclusive game.
Well, I mean, now they are. I mean, Sony is bringing things to. Yeah, like you can buy God of War. It's on PC.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised, Steve.
So.
Horizon Zero Dawn. The thing is, they are, yes, fair. But like I said, if you're gonna play the exclusivity game, don't get upset when other people are also playing. You know what I mean? Like that's just tough.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Obviously, not everybody feels the same way, but I feel like you shouldn't bitch about something that you start.
Yeah. Well, you can understand that though, because it will harm their business. So makes sense. But I mean, at the same time, Microsoft has also always been doing the exclusive game. They were like, it's only recently that a lot of the Halo games came to PC. Even they were only just Xbox exclusives. So they're now making sure their games also get to PC. But seems like Sony's trying to do the same thing. Hopefully they'll do it well. Like I would love for you to play like the first Last of Us game. I don't know about the second Last of Us game. I haven't played it, so I can't say. But the first Last of Us game was really, really good.
I'm more interested in Uncharted.
Uncharted's it's really fun. Yeah. It's like playing Indiana Jones.
Yeah. That's why I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
I'm very much interested in Uncharted. There are some other games that I'm also like. I would love to play the Spider-Man game, and also obviously Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes,
I would love to play.
And obviously I have to put this in. Jak and Daxter. I want my Jak and Daxter. Anyway, continue.
You don't deserve your Jak and Daxter.
How dare you?
Well, you know what you deserve. You know what you deserve. Nothing.
You see, if you'd known your Jak and Daxter, you could have been like, you know what, you deserve nothing but Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier, and I'd be like, the bad one that wasn't made by Naughty Dog. You'd be like, yes, but you don't know Jak and Daxter well enough, so you couldn't hurt me.
Nerd.
So, as it's still basically part of the story, but tangential to it, obviously Activision Blizzard is not yet owned by Microsoft. So, they're still dealing with Raven Software, which I think we've spoken about before. I'm not too sure. They're the company that, where the QA department, where they were like told, you're going to get raises, and then they fired them all. That company, the QA department, were like, fine, then we're going to unionize. So they started unionizing, and they like created a union and declared that they want Activision to acknowledge it. And Activision Blizzard was like,
that's very dangerous to mess with Raven Software.
Yeah, so they were like, but now Activision is like, okay, well, we have to do something. They could go like
Raven Software is an OG.
Yeah, and the thing is, they've now decided, they're like, okay, we can't just say no because we'll look really bad. So we're going to put it to a vote and the whole company can choose. And I fucking swear, if Activision Blizzard, the whole company, is just like, yes, union should be. Also, why don't we have a union? Oh, that'll be beautiful. But
you'll get the same thing as what's happening at Amazon with the union busting. They literally have courses on how managers and executive staff are taught how to bust unions, how to stop employees from getting unionized.
And that's why you got to keep going. But they try to do some bullshit, like they try to reorganize the QA department so that they're not in one place, they're spread across the whole company. But they're like, they did that right after they announced, their union, and then
holy shit.
Yeah, and then the FTC was like, that seems quite union bustery, which is technically illegal. So we'll see what happens. So now they have to put it up to a democratic vote and the company can choose. And I hope the company is like, yes, also we should join.
I'm actually looking at Raven Software's history, and they've got, like I said, they're OGs. They really are OGs.
They have been around. They have been around for a long.
They are Call of Duty. They are Wolfenstein. They are actually, funny enough, the Star Wars Best of PC, the exact thing that I have. The X-Men games that I used to play. Yeah, they are big, but the thing is, we don't see them as big because they have an exclusive publishing deal with Activision.
Yeah.
So we see Activision behind these, not Raven, but still waters, right?
Also, the game I've mentioned before on here, which is like one of those really great games that just vanished, like it's not online to my knowledge. They also made Star Trek Elite Force, which is a really, really good game. And
according to you.
No, it's a genuinely good game. Like,
I'm sorry, but Star Trek to me is the thing is, Star Trek to me was killed because it was not made recently. When I think Star Trek, I honestly think bad acting and even worse costume design.
Yeah,
that puts me off of it completely. Have you seen past this first season of Star Trek? Have you seen the first season of Star Trek?
I have.
I'm talking shit because I've watched at least the first season of it.
I started watching and I watched like 4 episodes. And then I was kind of like, I'm struggling.
It's rough, right? And I watched the first season.
I'm sure the other ones are better. That's just really old, but I'm sure like Next Generation is better.
The recent movies were pretty good because, like I said, I think what killed it for me was the time when it was made because...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, Star Trek Elite Force it's a first-person shooter. It's not... It's I didn't know Star Trek at all. Like, I never watched Star Trek as a kid. This game was the thing that got me interested in Star Trek, and then I was like, wow, this is actually not that great. But the game is really good. It's got like a large array of, weapons, like inventive weapons. It also did release to critical acclaim. So
it looks like crap.
So I would love to play this game. It was re-released on GOG.
Yes. I'm actually looking at the images on GOG right now.
Yeah, it is old. It's like 2000, so it's old.
You know what game I'm actually playing? And I've been thinking about doing a side hobby if I ever had the time to do a side hobby, but to remake the first level in old game. Not the whole game, just to remake the first level of a game. And one of the games that really got me thinking about this was Shogo. Let me get the full name for you here. Shogo Mobile Armored Division. I believe it is a game that's trying to be... It's a mecha game.
Yeah, I see.
It's a mecha game that is... Everything about it is anime, except for the developers. Like, I think it was like Western developers that wanted to make an anime game. But if there's one thing I can tell you is that if you ever get a chance to play this game, the controls are really bad, the graphics are really bad. It's super anime, but, well, super anime is like they got big eyes, they got mecha, Their portraits are all stylized in the old anime style, but the writing, the dialogue is really good. Like there's really funny parts in it that I find is it's what makes it shine. And if I could remake just the first episode, because this game has a cool premise. You play as a mech and you can play as a person. The thing is, when you're playing as a mech, you can walk through cities, kill other mechs, tanks, and people. And then when you play as a person, you get the scaling of how big the mech is compared to the people. But you have your different levels. But like it's an old game. If you ever get a chance to look at
Yeah.
the
No, I look.
actual art, it is
I've
it is old.
I've actually also
And
been. I was looking at the developer, and this developer's also OG because they made like that, and then a few years later they were like they made the Alien vs Predator 2 game, and then a couple years,
you kind of wonder why I like them so much.
yeah, and then a bit later they made Fear.
So do you understand why
Yeah.
I like this game so much? But I I want, because this game is limited by the technology. Like the models are fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to make the first level of this game so that I can show people that if this, I believe that if this game is made today, just remake, like keep the dialogue and the story and just overhaul the mechanics and graphics. I would think it would be such a cool game. And you know me, I love my AVP too. I
Yeah.
love my Fear.
They also made
But
those Shadow of Middle Earth games.
I didn't. Yeah, it's Monolith. I didn't get a
Yeah.
time. I didn't get a chance to. I have Shadow of Mordor,
Mm.
but I couldn't get into it. Like I'm one of those people that when I play a game, I want to follow the story. I want to get done, but there's too much sandboxing in it for me. Like personally, like
I've heard
the only
it's.
reason why I finished playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag is because I could use my ship.
I was gonna say
But
I've heard it's very Assassin's Creedy.
yeah, it's very like that type of sandboxy, and I'm not a fan of that. I was told that Shadow of War, if I can skip Mordor and I could just play War, and I would enjoy myself. But I'm not a person to play two without playing one.
Yeah.
So I've kind of stopped myself in that regard because I want to play the first one before I play the second one. But I just feel like the game is too sandboxy and too Assassin's Creed for me. But the
Makes
reason why I
sense.
mentioned Shogo is because the mechs have a wide range of weaponry,
Mm.
like guns that it uses, and then when you go into your human, or when you get out of your mech, there's a wide range of guns for your human to use. And
That's
like I
cool.
said, the writing, the dialogue is funny. Like it is genuinely funny. You play this commander or that pilots a mech, and your girlfriend just happens to be your boss, your captain, or your general's daughter. Like the typical anime setting and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Like it generally got a few laughs out of me. Like this actual, like back in, like, this game was made when? Let me just see.
98, I think.
And they already then had branching, like the deceptive choices. Like you could help this person, or you could just ignore them and go, like there's a person, there's a quest where you have to go, you have to get let into this place, and the woman wants you to go find her cat. You could go on the whole tangent side quest and find a cat, bring it back to her, and she gives you access. Or you can just shoot her, grab what you need, and get access. It was like back then there was multiple choices to solve a situation, and like I said, the dialogue itself is just funny as shit. But it definitely needs. I would love for a game like this to get a reboot, or a reboot. I don't want to say a remaster. I want a reboot because you've got Titanfall that proved that first person and mech combat can work, and then you got this game that's more anime. It's yeah, I think it will. I think it would be a good remake. That's all.
I actually just realized something else for people who are interested in that, because I think um, Titanfall has been one of the most sort of praised, especially Titanfall 2, one of the most praised recent first person shooter games. Never mind. I know Respawn used to be owned pretty much by Activision, but it seems now it's and EA. So I thought that maybe if they were owned by Activision Blizzard, people.
No. There couldn't be. Wasn't Respawn made by people who left Activision?
Yes, and then yeah. No, you're right. They were from Infinity Ward. Yeah. And then they were acquired by EA.
Yeah, they couldn't have been under Activision. Well, technically they were, and then they weren't.
Yes. So fun, but oh well.
Respawn.
I mean, I think the first Titanfall. Who published it? Okay, it was EA. That's disappointing.
Apparently this game was a giant bomb. But I can understand why the graphics were terrible. The controls are terrible. The only thing that makes that justifies this for me is the dialogue. And because it's an old game, I can get over it. But the dialogue for me won it for me, I would say.
Also, just by the way, for anyone that's listening, there might be a slight change in my audio because it just suddenly out of nowhere started raining. So.
No, you're good.
At
least you got rain. It is sunshine and no wind. You know how that is in the valley.
Jesus. This is not coming down hardcore. Well, I mean. Anyway.
You're inside, don't worry.
That is, no, but one of the problems here, because I live in the middle of fuck off nowhere, when it rains, okay, rain is fine. When thunder starts, my power goes off. It's great. So, hopefully that doesn't happen. If it does, it's fine. Laptop will work. I have an inverter, and actually the Wi-Fi is also connected to an automatic inverter, so it will last until I can turn on the real inverter. So that's fine, but I'd rather it didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of the end of the main news. So now, NFT stuffs. But I think we can first start with the actual, because it's probably a good launching off point, the actual news story about it, because it's been a big news story, because the GDC, do you know GDC?
Mm-hmm.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, the Game Developers Conference, they're very big, and every year they release a State of the Game Industry report. And it's, questions about everything, like what is crunch like, and they look at demographics, is it still mostly just white men? So they look at all that kind of stuff. And this time, obviously, they asked about NFTs because it's the big thing. And it seems that 70% of developers are not interested in NFTs, and 72% are not interested in cryptocurrency as a payment tool. And it seems most of the things, it says the vast majority of respondents criticize the new technology for its scam potential, environmental impact, and monetization concerns. So, that is NFTs. But now, you actually...
Well, you didn't really explain what it is, but you just explained the outlook on NFTs.
No. I was going to say, you know more than me, so you should actually do some explanation, but that's just my thing here. But yeah, it seems those are the main things, and also people are criticizing a lot of companies for starting NFT programs. So Ubisoft, Konami... Square Enix, EA, Sega. Okay, Sega stalled plans because they got negative reaction. That's actually happened a couple of times. Stalker 2, they tried to do NFTs and then people were pissed off, so they pulled back. But I think that you actually know the stuff more than me. I understand it somewhat, but I don't know technical things. So... you wanted to do some NFT and crypto, or mostly just NFT?
No. What I will say to that, I've had quite a bit of time to think, go through this, and when I hear things like Stalker 2 trying to use NFTs, I think, why?
Yeah.
What possible use do you have NFTs for? The whole point about I would say that NFTs was an early age technology that shouldn't have been allowed towards the public, but should have stayed in development to develop what it can truly become. But because a lot of the technology floating around blockchain and NFTs and stuff is open source, anybody can get their hands on it, which means that anybody can corrupt it, can abuse it, can use it for their own meaning.
Yeah.
I don't think NFTs, personally, I don't think that NFTs should be used for media. Um, Pictures, movies, videos, music. Uh, it shouldn't be used for um, assets either. Um, Game assets, for instance. I understand the reason why if the games, if the game that, if the game revolves around the blockchain, then I understand using NFTs, but to a degree. If the game doesn't require the blockchain, but they're simply putting it in there as a extra source of income, no, get that shit out of my game. But if a game is built, because you have blockchain gaming, and that kind of gaming is for a an audience that likes that kind of thing, and it's one of those things. The blockchain game is one of those things that doesn't spill over into the game into other people's game. It shouldn't, because the audience is playing a blockchain game for the sake of playing a blockchain game, right? They shouldn't have blockchain like NFTs inside a game that doesn't need it, other than to make you pay for more shit. You know, um, that's why I don't. I understand the reason for NFTs. I understand the use of NFTs in games that are centered around the blockchain, but not games that are just shoving it in to try and make more money out of it. Not people that are using the technology of NFTs to steal and abuse it for profit. You know what I mean?
But that does seem to be the main thing a lot of these companies are doing. They're just using it to make like a quick buck.
Because it's not regulated. It's
Yeah.
it's the scum that would come up on any new technology trying to make the most money out of it before it gets regulated. Like if they had to have a way to regulate it as it launched, none of these people would be able to do the shit that they're doing with it. But because it's not regulated, it's a problem. And you go to the other half of that. You go to the people that will defend it, and they will tell you that the regulation is done by the people. The whole thing about the blockchain is that it's regulated by the people. So a country can't influence cryptocurrency, but people can. It is claimed that they're handing the power back to the people. But the problem is, corporations and people are scum. There will be somebody who will try to exploit it. There will be somebody who will try to corrupt it, to abuse it for profit. And that's pure human nature, I would say, is the greed inside them that wants to do that. The technology is underdeveloped and is not it's not used for what it's being used for. I see NFTs as a great technology, but the only way we can actually, the only viable way that we've come up with so far to use NFTs is using crypto. So I'm going to break it down in my understanding of it, right? You've got the blockchain. Now, the blockchain can only work if it is always up and running, if it's always recording your NFTs. So the most powerful thing about the NFT is that it is always transparent. Anybody can go onto onto the blockchain and look up the history of that NFT. Therefore, allowing anybody to do a check to see who has owned the NFT before and when it was made. Right, adding the power back to the people, so to speak. But the problem is, not everybody's regulated. Because not everybody understands technology. So not everybody can regulate it, and regulation on that scale, because we can barely get the whole world organized on one thing. Can you imagine trying to get everybody organized and unified to regulate something? It's just not going to work. So yeah, like I said, my understanding is an NFT is kept on the blockchain, right? You're able to track its history from the moment it is added to the blockchain. You're able to track it. You're able to see who owns it, who's it gone to, its whole life, right? But the only way to do that is if the blockchain is always on. That's where the power issues come in, because you always have to run the system, and the system is always running at 100%. There's no downtime for the blockchain. Now, cryptocurrencies obviously are a currency that you paid in, which you can then transfer to a regular currency to make money off it. But when you mine, right, your computer's not going down a tunnel and hacking at some ore. What it's actually doing is it's processing transactions. It's processing like Ethereum, like mainly. It's processing shit that's happening on the blockchain. It's when you mine, your computer is contributing to keeping the blockchain going. And because they are essentially outsourcing the processing to the user, that's how you get paid. That's how you get paid. And most of the time is you would either get paid in Ethereum or you would mine Ethereum and get paid in Bitcoin. So when people say mining, it's got this thing that you're just generating. People are sending you transactions, you're just generating that on the fly. My understanding is you're actually handling some of the processing needed to keep the blockchain running. Hence why the blockchain is so dependent on cryptocurrencies, because cryptocurrencies are the only way to measure the work done or to pay for the work done on your contribution to keeping up the blockchain. And obviously cryptocurrencies they could have just been tokens for processing, but because they're not connected to real world financials, there's that. And it's so volatile because it goes up, it goes down. One company changes a policy and the whole market crashes. One thing that's invented for crypto runs on, like NFTs, could be abused, and just because the one thing that cryptocurrencies are attached to is abused, they go down. They crumble because it's such an unstable, such a fragile system, and that's my understanding of how this whole thing works. So the power that is required to run these things is, yes, it's creating a lot of emissions, but it's not like a corporate farming company or beef company which has all these cows that are farting into the atmosphere. It's not even that. It's down to each person at their own home who switches on the computer and starts mining. That's where the power comes from. It's spread out. It's not concentrated. It's spread out globally, and that makes it difficult again to regulate. You cannot regulate something like this, which is why people are abusing the software. I personally think that the best use I would use for NFTs is copies of something. Now, I said NFTs shouldn't be used for media, right? I've mentioned that I don't feel like NFTs should be used to store anything that can easily be recorded, ripped, or taken a picture of to export. I feel like it should be used to record data. But the current, I like the way NFTs could be used, but the foundation of what it's built up on is dodgy because it's regulated by the people, and if not enough people regulate it, people get away with shit. And it's like a person can steal another person's art, turn it into an NFT, and because that is the first time that art exists as an NFT, there's no way to dispute unless the art is copyrighted to dispute that NFT is stolen. So shit like that is unregulated is really ruining the technology, and it's kind of like when you get that where technology was growing in one direction, going into a really good space where we could possibly protect data online and own things online without people taking it. Like for a game company to be able to make their game CDs, for instance, the thing that houses their games, an NFT, then they'll be able to sell a certain number of units and know that someone can't pirate it because they have to connect to the blockchain to get to the NFT to run the game. Something like that, like a game code or keygen or something that's regulated by the people. But even that, because the technology didn't go the way it was supposed to go, and instead it was halted and mutated into the thing it is now, it's just going downhill. It's corrupted. it's not something that is good for the gaming industry as it stands. There are companies. There was this the story of um let me just I can't think of, I don't know, I think it's called like EOS World or EOS Land or something like that. Actually, no, I don't know. I don't know the number, but there was this whole scandal with they had an NFT, a shovel, and upon when you make an account with them, you get gifted a free shovel, but the shovel can be sold for like 0.000 something cent, right? The problem here comes in is that people are making bots, and the bots go in, they register account, they get a shovel, they sell it. So they are making money out of nothing, and all they have to do is just make an account and then sell it. And yes, one shovel isn't gonna set you for life, but if you have a bot that's doing this constantly, you're eventually gonna make a profit by selling all these shovels. And it's just, and the thing is, the blockchain, because it is not infinite, it's finite compared to most things. So there's only a certain amount of space, there's only a certain amount of time that people can access the blockchain, like share between companies. So one blockchain might have like 20 companies all sharing space and time slots in that blockchain to access it. And with companies like that, they are clogging the blockchain with these accounts that people are generating via bots, which is obviously a really corrupt practice. But what I'm trying to get you is that the technology was going somewhere. It was going somewhere good. And then someone found out that they could really profit off of it. And because of that, it's been corrupted and it's been driven off course. And it's now being developed with the sole purpose of improving profits. It's like it's like when you see a exoskeleton used to help construction workers or to help people that can't walk to get back on their feet, and you immediately look in and go, "Yep, that's going to be militarized. That's going to be the next mech suit," because it does serve that purpose as well. Yes, it was designed to help people that can't walk again, or help firefighters get through to save people's lives. But at the end of the day, it's going to be militarized and used to kill people. And that alone is kind of how I see the whole NFT crypto blockchain environment was. It was made for something good, but other agendas got in the way, and it is being corrupted into something that is actually hurting people. It's costing people their livelihood, and that's basically just my feel on it. The technicalities, I could be 100% wrong in how I understand it, but it's just how I understand it and why I feel it's shit. For people, I would have suggested, like if because the push to get rid of NFTs is so strong, I I would say keep pushing to get rid of them. The only way to combat, the only way to live with NFTs is either to get rid of it in future, or to have it regulated. I guess there's a third option. If you can't beat them, join them. Attack them on their own grounds, on their own footing. So for people that have their art stolen and they aren't getting what's theirs, they aren't able to shut down NFTs. My best suggestion would be to copyright your art before putting it up on a public website, or to make your art NFTs. Because then, if your art is an NFT, I know it's kind of like the stupid way to go about it because you want to get rid of NFTs. But if you can't get rid of NFTs, but you don't want your livelihood taken by people who use NFTs, then your best course of action is to use NFTs. To turn your art into an NFT. Yes, people can take pictures, blah, 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 but if your art's an NFT and somebody else takes a picture of your art, makes an NFT and tries to sell it, you can then dispute that by showing your NFT, which has its blockchain history, to show that you, first of all, uploaded yours first and it's owned by you first, therefore justifying your ownership of it, so that if somebody comes along and takes a picture of your art and turns it into an NFT and sells it, and cut you out of the whole deal. They can't do that because you can tell, you can show the people, hey, that's mine because I uploaded it first. Because the only reason why you can't dispute the shit that people do is because when they look at the NFT that they've stolen from you, they're going to see the history lies with them being the original owner and uploader. But if you do it, then you can dispute it on equal footing and get them to fuck off. But like I said, that's only a drastic measure if we can't, as an organized mass, to get rid of this abuse, this use of NFTs. And yeah, that's kind of my thing on it.
So I've got a couple things which I just sort of wrote down now, little things, because I think it'd be a good back and forth, and you can tell me what you think of these things. Because my issues with NFTs, well, okay, the main thing people tend to focus on, which you did also mention, is the environmental cost. We understand why that is. It's because it's, millions of computers all over the world, not just in individual countries. So that makes sense. And that's why I know you get some. I heard something about a a recent, blockchain, or whatever, one of these cryptos that's trying to do it green energy style. But obviously, I think things like Ethereum are so big that they won't be able to do that, I suppose.
The best thing you could do is have a company to put computing in space.
Yeah.
Or in orbit. But the problem is there's so much shit in our orbit that it's not very safe to do so.
Yeah, but also then I suppose you would just be producing sort of pollution then in space, which,
well, it depends. If you set it up in such a way that your entire your farming or your mining station is reliant on solar power, because at least in space, if you're out of orbit, and if I'm talking about like real like next level sci-fi shit, but if you're out of orbit and you're between orbits, you're kind of floating, and then you direct your solar panels towards the sun, you have a constant supply of energy, taking away the resource. And because I'm not too sure if there is a chemical waste that comes from running computers. Like the plastic gets hot and some chemicals seep out of the components.
I suppose
I'm not too sure if that is a thing, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to release greenhouse gases. Then the stations can be vented.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the electricity cost, but a lot of electricity over the world does use fossil fuels, so I think that's the thing.
That's less of a case of NFTs, cryptocurrency, and mining and stuff all is dangerous for the environment. No, the way humans are generating electricity, the way we're so dependent on fossil fuels, is dangerous for the environment. The fact is, we use a lot of it should be. I feel like it should almost be an incentive to go to find a green alternative, to stop using fossil fuels. I mean, at least stop burning coal, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would at least think that this technology is only going to continue going. NFT might right now be the thing that's using a lot of electricity. But I guarantee you, as technology goes on, we're going to find things like the metaverse is going to burn electricity, because something is going to have to keep these things up. Something is going to have to keep the processing power up. So to advance technology, we need electricity. We need a lot of it. And I think the fault there, instead of blaming NFTs and crypto on environmental damage, we should blame, here's the thing again. We're blaming the technology and not the people. We shouldn't be blaming the NFT. We should be blaming the people who abuse the technology and who have bastardized this technology. You know what I mean? Same way, instead of blaming NFTs for the impact on the environment, we should be blaming the countries and the companies who set up coal plants, who set up all these fossil fuel energy generators. But we're not. We excluding them. We're going, oh yeah, they just have a hard time keeping up with the demand. That's bullshit. We should stop leaving them out of this equation. When someone says NFTs have an impact on the environment, they should also say because it forces these companies to burn fossil fuels. Then I can say, well, then those companies shouldn't be burning fossil fuels.
That is true.
It's we look past the fact that we shouldn't be blaming the masses for they leaving their lights on at night, and instead blame the corporations that literally just burn shit for energy.
Yeah.
That dump into our oceans. Those are the people we should be blaming. Although I will say that NFTs as a whole right now is still predatory and is still the technology cannot be regulated, so it is still a bad technology.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't be blaming environmental impact on the technology. It should be down to the country and companies provide electricity. That's where I put my foot down with this environmental impact.
No, I can understand that. So I think I've written down 5 words, and I want to elaborate on them. I just want to see what you think. But actually, before that, there just a few days ago, 5 days ago, I've actually been waiting for this thing for ages. One of my favorite YouTubers released a documentary about NFTs, and I'm just checking now, and it seems it's actually become in 5 days his most viewed video of all time. So well done to him. It's very long, nearly 2.5 hours long. But it's called Line Goes Up, The Problem with NFTs. If you wanted to watch it, you could always just Google NFT documentary and it will show up. But it's basically about the speculative aspect. So
you can't just shout out the name. We're on YouTube. You gotta shout out the YouTuber.
Yes, it's Folding Ideas. But
there we go.
If you look it up, you'll find he's absolutely fantastic. He's very sort of analytical. He makes a lot of things about, well, this is not about media, but he often makes things about media. Like he made a really, really good thing about Ralph Bakshi's The Lord of the Rings, and he's made things about like the Snyder Cut, and just he also made really, really funny videos, very long, breaking down the 50 Shades of Grey movies / books, including readings from the extremely terribly written book. It's fucking beautiful. But anyway, that was years ago. Very, very good, and that also gave me more information about NFTs in general. Now, there's 5 words, and I'll do each of them. So the first thing I think a lot of people are concerned about is the shadiness, which I think you already have spoken about. That it's
people are scum.
Yes,
it can't be regulated.
Exactly. So
straight up.
And with that actually comes, I suppose, the speculative aspect of it, that NFTs are traded as a speculative investment, even though they're not worth anything. They're traded as a hypothetical stock. So it's basically stock trading without actually having a product. Like these whatever apes, these ape pictures that you always see as the NFTs.
Well, technically, the ape picture, the art itself is the product, and the only because people say but you can't hold something digitally, but think about artists have been making pictures and selling them for years. That's still considered a product. The only thing that makes the NFT product more viable in the sense of stock trading is the fact that there's a history to it. There you're able to go to the history, and it's always going to be there on the blockchain. Unless the blockchain shuts down. But I still think that kind of maneuver is still referred to my first point. People are scum.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to make money out of it. So yeah, definitely that.
I think though the thing is, you can get something like, if you know the I think it's the NFT that like really made people aware of them was that a digital artwork by Beeple, if you know of it. And that was like a proper piece of art. But these ape things, I don't think anyone actually draws them. There's a certain number of them, obviously, but they're procedurally generated. So they're just tokens. They're not pretty. They don't really have much artistic merit to them.
Well,
And
that's the thing about art. Art is always subjective.
that is
So,
true.
because if I had to stand in a I don't know in a art studio or go to a art gallery with a blank canvas and say I had so many thoughts about what I put on here, but I just couldn't put it on, people are gonna laugh at me and tell me to get out. But if a famous person does it, people will buy that shit for millions.
Well,
So
by the
art
way,
is super subjective.
yeah, it is. It is. But these are ugly monkeys.
They are. No.
They're hideous.
They are. They're ugly, but like I said, art is super subjective. So if we don't like it, there is someone. I mean, the person who bought it either bought it to brag that he bought an NFT, or they bought it to brag that they bought an NFT, or they like the NFT. Either way, that's why I said it shouldn't be used for art.
Yeah.
I personally prefer it to be used for data,
Yeah.
for keys, for information, for accounts, that kind of thing.
This is
media. No, because media is subjective. You can't put a value on any media.
Yeah. There is something I think this is not NFT related, but just to do with a blank canvas. There were, I think it's like Denmark or Norway, one of the Scandinavian countries, and they it was like, you know, an arts program. They pay artists for like to do art. That, you know, what you do, and
yes,
there was a very funny thing where it was like a museum and they like paid this guy, and then he rocked up with a canvas and put it up for display, and it was just a blank canvas with the title "Take the Money and Run." And the museum was like, very, very funny. We are gonna want our money back, but that is very funny. And I think he did give the money back, but he's like, that it's making a good point, and I love the sass of it all, of just being like, yes, take the money and run.
Exactly. I mean, the painting I was talking about was actually not a blank canvas. Allegedly, what had happened is the artist had gone through several renditions of what could have been on there, and then just decided that he couldn't come up with anything and painted it white.
Okay. You see, but art is weird, and it's true, it's very subjective, but a lot of art is heavily painted over. Like, that's why the Mona Lisa is considered such an important piece, even though it's fucking boring. Is that he spent like 20 years trying to perfect it, and then died before he did, so it's actually an unfinished painting. But anyway, but yes, it's the problem though is that it's being traded as a speculative stock, and speculative stocks are dangerous. Speculative stocks are one of the things that caused the Great Depression in 1929. So I think when speculative stocks happen, they're kind of scary. But that's just
definitely. That's my answer to that is people are scum.
Yeah. my next word is volatility, which you also spoke about, that it goes up and down. Elon Musk says Tesla isn't accepting Bitcoin anymore, and Bitcoin tanks.
Yeah, but it's a right for him to have his Dogecoin.
Yeah, but I think Dogecoin also sunk. And then China banned crypto, and actually, coincidentally, the same time.
I don't think China's involvement in this matter. They've banned a lot of things that the rest of the world doesn't agree on anyway.
Yeah. But something that was really funny is, I think it's the same day this documentary came out, Russia also banned crypto, and so crypto sank, and so people were like, Folding Ideas video obviously tanked crypto. Which is just really cute, because it was coincidental, but it was just very funny. But the volatility, I think, is also difficult, because you can't treat it as a viable currency because it's too volatile. So
it's way too volatile, and it will never stabilize. That's very important, because the value of it is derived by what it is used for. So if demand for it is high, the value of it is high. If demand for it is low, the value of it is low. And that is what happens when you allow the masses to regulate it, because everybody's got an opinion, and not everybody's buying and selling the same thing. Not everybody is interested in it. And that's why I believe that crypto will never be stable. I mine, just so that everybody know. I mine because I make a quick buck, to pay for my vices, I would say. But other than that, I don't mine for some greater glory. I mine because I can make money off of it.
Yeah,
and a lot of the times that money that I'm making is not. I'm not dependent on it. It's just extra cash. Some days I go up $2. Some months I go down the entire amount that I've mined. So it is volatile, and I do it to get a little bit of extra cash on the side. It's not like I'm selling drugs or anything, but it's just like my little side hustle that I can do when I go to sleep, when I'm doing this, when I do that, and it at the moment I am going to stop mining, but at the moment the electricity is included in my rent, so I can afford to mine. But when I'm independent and I have to pay my own electricity, I'm most likely going to stop mining altogether because I don't see I can't afford I can't make enough money from mining to cover what I'm using. And I'm not using a shitty mining card either. I've got an RX 580 and I've got a RTX 3060. So they are pretty beefy cards for mining, and I can still say I'm not going to be able to make my money back on electricity and have enough for my vices at the end of the month. So like I'm going to stop mining when I move and I have to pay my own electricity. I'm just doing it now because it's convenient.
Yeah. Also, just by the way, you said something super shady and reminded me of something, because you said, I don't use it for like drugs, which as soon as you say that, you sound shady.
I don't. It's not. I said I mine. It's not like I sell drugs.
Yeah.
I'm saying that. I'm mining as an alternative to selling drugs as a side hustle.
Okay, but it just reminded me of a thing which I think you'd find funny. The fucking my lovely fiance decided when we were driving, we gave some kids a lift up the road. But as soon as the kids got into the car, she turned to them and said, "You shouldn't get into the car with just anyone." And I was like, "Babe, you can't." As soon as kids get into the car,
she's 100% right. I would do that. Teach them a fucking life lesson. Don't just get into someone's car because they look nice.
But the thing is, getting into the car and immediately the person turns around after the doors have locked and say, "You shouldn't get into the car with just anyone." That sounds like you're going to kill them. And after we let the kids out, I was like, "You said the shadiest thing." And she's like, "Yeah, I know, I realized after."
Yeah, it's pretty shady, but it's pretty right. Teach them a lesson now. Because their life could depend on it.
But she could have said that when they got out the car and been like, "Just by the way, you shouldn't just get in the car of anyone." But she decides as soon as they get in, and she locks the doors and then tells them. It was just fucking hilarious. Anyway, the next thing which I just put the word centralized. The idea of crypto is that it's decentralized. Except it actually is still centralized on like Ethereum or something. So if Ethereum were to go down, it were to go down, which probably adds to the volatility.
There's not much I can say that. I do have things to say. I really do, but I'm contractually obligated to not say anything. Unfortunately, my views, if I wasn't contractually obligated, my views on decentralization and centralization would spill out, but unfortunately, it's one of those moments where I have to say no. I'll let you know about it after the recording.
That's all good. And the last thing, actually, I just put here, which I find very interesting, and I think this is where you get a lot of criticisms of it from a more anti-capitalist perspective. The idea of ownership, especially digital ownership, being a thing at all. Like, digital ownership, like once you die, the thing is, your digital things you own are kind of like often gone.
You know what my greatest worry is? When I die, who am I going to give my gaming accounts to? Because we're not living in an age where things can physically be passed down. If I die, if I have children, they will get access to my gaming accounts because Steam might carry on for years. Epic might carry on for way after I die, which means that the games I own on there I have to go to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always thought about.
It's an interesting.
Who would I give my accounts to when I die? Because I've got a lot of games. I don't want people to buy new games if I've already got to carry on my account. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it would be quite funny to think of 500 years in the future. There's people who built their wealth in the digital age, and now they've inherited oh yes, no, I inherited my piece of property in Second Life. I inherited from my great grandfather. The old family brothel in Second Life. Also, of course, there's my grandfather's bordello in VR chat. It's maintained family legacy.
That is something, but I'm talking about your account only you can use, and only when I die. So I can't give it to my child because they're gonna have their own Steam account. It's gonna have their own games in it.
Yeah.
So no, do I just hand down a book with my login and my email address, and then when they want to go search their great grandfather's archives, they just log in with my account on Steam and then see all the old ass games that I played. I mean, I got some new games, but I'm talking about then they'll be old. So it's something that's always crossed my mind is that when I die, one of the things that's going to be in my will, funny enough, are my accounts, because I've probably paid about 10,000 rand worth of games inside that account, and that's not so true because 10 of those games, if sold at 1,000, it's only 10, and I'm pretty sure I've got way more money invested in my Steam account. So, like I said, it's going to be and some of the games might not be, they might not even know about, even look and buy. So, I would have to hand down my accounts, my Steam accounts. It's not something that you can just close because it's got so much value in it still. It's not like a credit account. It's an archive.
I think though a difficult thing, maybe what Steam will do is, if an account's been inactive for 50 years, they just delete it.
Yeah, but then that also deletes all the games that you could have access. I would rather Steam come with a way that, maybe if I'm influential through either this podcast or through the projects I do or the products I release, I'll be able to influence the industry in a way to archive for generations. So if I die, if I have a death certificate and in my will it says that my games must be going to this account, I want Steam to be able to take all the games registered in my account and take them over to someone else's account and close my account because I've already paid for them. I already paid for that unit. I don't see why my grandchildren need to pay for it, or somebody that I'm gifting this account to needs to pay for it. I just want them to just take it over, and that's that.
I think one of the big things that it's with NFTs as well is the idea that because in real life you do get such a thing as scarcity. There's a limited number of a thing, and we've had to create digital scarcity because you can make infinite copies of all these games on Steam. They're not physical, so you can make infinite copies. So your copies aren't unique. So it's sort of
your key is.
Your key is.
So that's what's unique.
Yeah, but then the key probably falls away once you use it. So, but it still, there's nothing special about yours.
No. It's registered under your account.
Is it? But even then, it's not like a special thing. It's not like say you get a book that was signed by the author. You can't get a digital copy of something that's been signed by the author.
Director's cut.
Yeah, well, not the same. But
I know it's not the same, but at the same time, deleting account that's the problem again, is that not only physical copies means that these games might not be available later on. If Steam decides to remove a game and then says, "Oh no, we're also removing your copy," that's a big problem because now the game is gone. You ain't gonna. The only true society of preservation are pirates.
Yes, I agree. But it's all overall an interesting thing. But I mean, how long have we been talking about NFTs? I think for
not very well. This is going on to almost 2 hours. Yeah. I don't think we've been talking about NFTs that long.
No, I actually think we finished all the new stuff at an hour. So So I've been talking for a while, but you think that's a good place to wrap up?
Yeah, no, definitely. You could do the wrapping up.
Okay.
That I did the introduction.
Okay. So, well, usually we also start with, do you have anything to shill?
From my side, not just yet. My project is actually still moving along, so still making progress on that side. A little bit slow now that I'm working again, and yeah, that's pretty much for me.
Well, at time of recording, it'll be tomorrow, but I don't know what upload it'll be. So the 28th of January will be my next video's releasing, and it's about music and it's about anger. So that should be fun. I like angry music. It's my jam. So that's what I'm doing.
Question: is your phone close to your microphone?
It is not. Why?
Because I got some interference on that side.
There's no interference on my thing. So hopefully none. Anyway, I believe that's then everything.
Yes, that is everything.
That was quite a delay. So
no, sorry. I was just looking at some news. Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's everything from my end. You've advertised your end. I think this is it.
All right.
First episode done.
Goodbye to all the people of the world. I'm sure Tristan will also say that he loves you.
I do.
So as per usual, I love you. Ta-ta.